with goal scorer Beck Malenstyn as we get set for the Sabres and Stars. That brought a smile. How are you doing?
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, we're just looking forward to a big game tonight.
Okay,
yeah,
so hang on.
Okay,
would you have preferred to have scored on the Spinorama here on home ice earlier this season, or the way you got the first one the other night?
I would take the Spinorama, I think, every single time. Yeah, but regardless, happy to see one go in. So
a couple of years ago, Hudson Fasching scored a goal, which was definitely kicked in. They called it a goal. We complained, but we found out he was one of the best Minnesota soccer player when he grew up.
Okay.
So now you scored one, not kicked in, but still with your feet. Were you a good soccer player growing up?
No, not at all. Not a good soccer player.
Did you play at all, or?
Please tell me lacrosse was more your thing.
No, I was a football player.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Unsurprising.
Yeah, I didn't. I think I played 1 year of soccer. I didn't play very much of it. Yeah, I was more of a contact sport kind of kid. So.
What position in football then?
Running back and a linebacker. For
Okay.
the most part. Yeah.
Oh, you know,
I'd have
playing
guessed
both
linebacker
sides,
all day.
I thought maybe like tight end, but back in, was that high school football or? Was
Yeah,
that...
I played up until I was 13.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't usually utilize a tight end.
No,
in that
no,
situation
not
on
at all.
13.
No.
Did you
not at
have
all.
to make a decision at that point? Like, would you have been allowed to continue kind of playing multiple? I don't like using the word allowed, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Right?
I think it would have been really tough. I'm trying to think of if I knew any guys that still juggled it after, and I don't know if any did. But really, my decision came down to the fact of if I stopped playing football, I could always go back to it. If I stopped playing hockey, there was no chance I could go skate again in 4 or 5 years. And realistically, it was probably going to be a lot easier on my body. So, yeah, luckily it worked out. But, no, I had a lot of fun growing up and playing both. Made a lot of really good friends on both sides of it. So.
Oh, that's something interesting. Okay, well, let's take the football and the linebacker mentality into hockey. Is there a change in the way that this team is forechecking, or your line right now with Lafferty and Krebs and getting on pucks? Some coaches like to have F1 go and hit. Some coaches like to have F1 go in and swing so they can come back. What do you prefer, and what are you guys trying to work on here?
Yeah, I think obviously my mentality is always physicality first. I think being able to go and either make just a rush decision, try to separate that guy from the puck. I feel like if you can do that effectively, you can really cause a lot of chaos. And I think for me, too, just being as direct as I can allows my winger, or like Laff and Krebsy to read off me. They know exactly what I'm going to do. And yeah, I think we've kind of harped on that. Is as a group, just being as predictable as possible allows us to play as fast as possible. And there's just no indecision, right? You trust the guys that you're on the ice with to make that play, and then we can read off and react from there.
So kind of like in football, special teams, you're the gunner. You're going to go first, and then everybody's going to read off
Just
with you?
send me in. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Did you guys, obviously you did, but maybe take us through just getting ready for the matchup that you had last game, like with Bedard? Obviously your line, the most you saw of any opponent was the Bedard line. Just take us into what those nights are like when you know well in advance what you're up against from a skill set standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as a line duty, we didn't know we were going to have them, going into the game, but there was obviously a focus of his skill set and of some of the players around him as a group. And I think when you get those opportunities, I've spoken to a few people about it, it just really allows you to be so mentally focused on the simple details of the game, which I think are so easy to miss sometimes. So, it allows you to play extremely detailed defensively, and the best way to do that's in the offensive zone. So I think we were able to shut them down in the defensive zone pretty well, which allowed us to spend a lot of time in the offensive zone as well. And when you're there, your confidence is building, you feel good about your game, and it just kind of snowballs. I think as we walked out of that one, obviously as a line, I think it's probably the most offense we've created, chances we've created, and pressure. So I think we were pretty happy with it and want to just build off that moving forward.
What was last Friday like? Because Wednesday is the game in Pittsburgh, and it kind of slipped away. You get a point. But the cliches would be, well, we're right back at it tomorrow, so we don't have time to dwell on it. And then Thursday did not go well in Columbus. So now the other cliche is, well, it's good that we have a day in between now because we can watch video. But what was the mood like Friday, saying, okay, now we have to get ready for Saturday against Chicago, and the last two games really didn't go well?
Yeah, I think, as a whole this season, there's probably been, early on a few games that have slid the wrong way from where we thought they were going to go and how we were playing. And hats off to the group and the coaching staff. Everyone stayed really positive. There's been a lot of good that we've been able to pull from those games. I think that's a huge focus. It's easy to look at a result and just dwell on a loss. But to take that step forward, it's always great to be able to pull those games, address things that need to change, but then focus on the positives that you can continue to work on. And yeah, I think the off day in Chicago was awesome. It allowed us to just, we got lucky. It was a beautiful day. I know a lot of guys just spent a lot of time outside walking around. It's a great city. Guys get together, go for dinners, things like that. And, it's the best part of the road. And I think, having that day to really, like you said, focus in on a great challenge moving forward, allowed us to split a road trip, which, going into it is maybe not your goal, but it's a nice way to leave when it slides early. So, I thought we utilized it really well. And then, like I said, the energy in the room and the focus has been really good.
If you ever need recommendation on the road, Duffer has all the spots, especially Chicago. He's a big Chicago fan. So.
Well, I was just going to ask. I mean, if you had extended time in Chicago,
yes,
like where would you likely go? Like, are you a music guy? Are you what would be a point of interest for you in Chicago?
Point of interest in Chicago. I mean, if a Bears game was going on, I'd love to see a Bears game.
I have not been to that stadium.
No,
so
I think Soldier Field would be really cool.
Yeah.
I think that would be something I would enjoy. I haven't got to, a day off here and there is really all I've had. So I've been to some pretty amazing restaurants. I've been fortunate enough that teammates and friends have had connections at a few of those. So I would probably just dive into the food scene and walk around and see what's happening.
Pretty good choice.
Yeah.
Chicago's pretty great.
There's a little area that's pretty famous for all the good restaurants being in that same area in Chicago.
Oh, you mean in Rush Street?
That area.
Yeah.
But again, like anywhere you go on the road, it doesn't really matter. There's always something good.
Exactly.
I found that Raleigh, North Carolina had some of the best restaurants. I always like going in Raleigh, North Carolina. Maybe it's just timing, or we were there in the playoffs the 1 year, so we got to extend our stay and enjoy it. So I don't know. There's always something to do. But Duffer is the guy to talk to.
Okay, noted.
That's also why I'm not on the road much anymore. We need to tone it down for this
Fair
guy.
enough.
For tonight, what about the potential matchups that you see within Dallas, who are obviously off to a great start?
Yeah, they're. I think they're just picking up right where they left off. Right, they're a very good hockey team. You haven't seen a lot of turnover. And so they're remaining successful. So I think it's a great challenge for us, them coming in here. We got a little bit of time at home, which is awesome. I think we want to take advantage of that and build off that, the momentum here. And, it's probably very similar to taking on some of those top lines in Chicago. They play with a lot of speed. They got some big guys who can work you down low, things like that. So it's going to be an emphasis for us of how quickly can we get out of our D zone, right?
I was told you're a pretty good chirper.
God, no.
They said you always chirp. You're always up
Who's
on the
they?
I just saying.
You mean Razor?
I did a survey today,
Okay.
Family Feud style, and I said, "What's happening? Does he talk a lot?" Oh, he's always chirping. Maybe they're.
That might be more in our own room. I can't think of anything fast enough out
you
there.
hang out in the lounge too a lot. That's what I was told. Okay,
yes,
you're a lounge lurker. You're
Absolutely.
good. Okay.
Yeah, just spend as much time with the guys as possible.
Okay, well, maybe the chirping part was false, but the lounge part is good, so I'm happy to know that.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us in the Sabres Live Lounge, and
Absolutely.
good luck tonight.
Thank you.